Welcome to Discovering. The ribbon cutting ceremony for the new DNR Outdoor Shooting Range in Marquette County was held last week, and the range is now officially open to the public.
This is a long time coming, and it's awesome to just finally celebrate not only those two fallen officers, but to be here and have the first fully public range in the UP. It was so needed.
And I met up with members of the Keweenaw Snowmobile Club to talk about the progress of their new Groomer barn and the funding they need to finish it.
Well, we're looking for about $450,000 would be ultimate goal to really finish this.
So sit back and relax. It's Monday night and it's time for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
The Upper Peninsula finally has its first DNR Outdoor Shooting Range. The official dedication and ribbon cutting for the long-awaited public range in Marquette County was held on October 10th.
The plans for this range go back to 1993, and then the site development alone, just finding the location, securing the location, and all that goes with that, that was over 10 years.
10 years ago, Stacy really amped up the work of working with Forest Resources Division, Wildlife Division staff locally, trying to find the perfect spot. So we evaluated, I think we went to 20 different locations to try to determine whether it was the right location. So we look at soil type, we look at number of neighbors, what kind of neighbors, what kind of recreation do we have going on out here already, what's the habitat like, are we going to conflict with some other designation or some other priority project that we have for this piece of property. And Cleveland Cliffs said, hey, if you guys would like, we could maybe work with you and lease you this private property in order to develop. And went through multiple iterations with County Road Commission as a possible partner, Cleveland Cliffs as a possible partner, and then Richmond Township came forward and said, hey, there's a Cliffs property just over the township line in Richmond Township, and I think it would work perfectly if Cleveland Cliffs would allow it.
You know, it's been a range that's been needed for a long time, and looking around, I said, wow, it's awesome. They did a super job. And as a bonus, the road going in to Goose Lake is clean. It's not a garbage dump. And that's what it turned out to for a while. Refrigerators, and garbage, and
We had the National Guard come in to where people had been shooting illegally and remove 142 tons of garbage. So it's obviously a place where people really came to shoot, so now they have a safe place to do it.
The range cost $2 million, and funding was provided through a federal grant administered by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and supplemented by the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund.
We've had multiple public meetings, so we tried to incorporate everything that we heard. We install sound abatement in the structures. We have paths that are accessible and from parking lot to target line. It doesn't matter what your mobility level, we can get you there. Everybody can shoot here. As you're coming into the site, transitions from the shortest distance handgun to 400 yards. Then we have an archery area that you can utilize, as well as a spot where you can bring your own thrower and shoot clay targets. A few finishing touches to complete out here, but we are open to the public. This time of year, it's 9 to 5, 7 days a week. it's open. Please don't shoot outside of those hours. We'll close when the snow gets deep enough that it's a pain to maintain, and then we'll reopen in the spring. And in the spring, 9 to 7.
For the rest of this season, the range will not be staffed full-time, but the DNR hopes by next year to have full-time staffing.
It'll be on the honor system. We will have a staff presence. Definitely have staff coming and going from here quite frequently to check on it. But for right now, it will just be open and on the honor system.
The new range is dedicated to Michigan Conservation Officers Emil Skoglund and Arvid Erickson, who were killed in the line of duty near this location on September 29, 1926.
When we decided for sure in this location, we noticed that there are 2 fallen officers, Skoglund and Erickson, that were killed on the Sands Plains not far from here. So it was just a natural fit to really dedicate it to them.
On that day, COs Erickson and Skoglund were working together when they encountered an unlicensed hunter. During the course of the arrest, the hunter, who was also an ex-convict, pulled a hidden revolver and shot both officers.
We want to make sure that never happens in vain and that legacy lives on. So it's such an honor to be here and to have those names forever be memorialized and honored as they should be.
The division within the Department of Natural Resources has a very long and rich history, 135 years and counting. It's the oldest statewide law enforcement agency in the state. And why this is so important for us, this dedication to these officers, these fallen officers. And, you know, you've heard the saying that freedom isn't free. Well, conservation isn't either. These officers back in the day, right after the turn of the century, the conservation movement was just getting started. Market hunting was rampant. Exploitation of all of our resources in the state was the norm. Conservation does mean the wise use of a natural resource, but it's the term wise that recognized years and years ago that there had to be regulations, there had to be controls to sustain our natural resources. And these officers were pioneers back in the day, fighting the same fight that our men and women do today.
Descendants of the 2 fallen officers were located and invited to participate in the grand opening and dedication of the range.
Something I think that Emil and Arvid would both really, really appreciate. It means a lot, you know, because my grandson's with the Marquette City Police. I think he's going to fire the first shot. So that means a lot. It'd be Arvid's great-great-grandson.
My name's Brad Ullman. I'm Emil Skoglund's great-nephew. Came up here for the opener of bow season and needed to stay to see this dedication. Beautiful range. It'll be used for many years and many people get to enjoy it, and a great tribute to these 2 great men.
Emil Skoglund is my great uncle. It's an honor for both those men. I think it's great. On the Skoglund side, there's only 6 of us left, relatives. Me and my brother came today.
Just something that he's recognized for what he did. World War I veteran, wasn't even born in this country, came over from Sweden as a kid. One of the first game wardens.
The COs, the men and the women, I think they do a great job for the people of Michigan. For the 90% of us who are law-abiding sportsmen, you know, they keep the 10% in check, I think, the way I look at it. And, you know, they allow us to go out and... I got a nice 8-point buck last night, bow hunting.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. With them keeping the people that don't want to conform in line, we have the opportunity to do that.
we're here right now, and this is our opportunity to remember our conservation officers. Obviously, we've had thousands of COs before us. We're here right now, and God willing, there's going to be COs after us, but it's our opportunity right now to really remember our conservation officers, and this is just a great gesture on naming this range after two of our fallen officers who died very close to this location.
It is located west of Marquette, off Marquette County Road 480, along the Goose Lake Boating Access Site Road. Yoopers are known for doing everything they can with what they have, but you can only make do with what you have for so long. The Keweenaw Peninsula averages more snowfall than any location in the U.S. east of the Mississippi River.
Tell people, well, we get about 300 inches up in the Keweenaw. We average 270 inches, so.
All that snow makes for excellent snowmobile trail riding with the help of the Keweenaw Snowmobile Club.
The organization takes pride in the fact that it is one of the most pristine trail systems in all of the Midwest. You know, over 230 miles of trails in the Keweenaw Peninsula. And once that snow flies and that trail opens up, it's a continuous caravan of trucks and trailers and snowmobiles that come north.
We should all know by now that it takes a ton of work and effort by our local snowmobile clubs and volunteers to keep these trails in top shape.
You know, all of a sudden every day you're getting at 6, 10, 12 inches of snow on a regular basis, so it takes a lot of effort to keep those trails maintained with that amount of snowfall.
What we forget about is how much money it also takes.
The challenge that we have as an organization is unique from most of all of the clubs in Michigan as a whole, is that our trail system for a groomer to go out and groom one route is about a 10 to 12 hour time frame. So we are one of the only clubs, maybe one or two other ones in the state of Michigan, that we pay our groomers, because it's pretty tough to get a groomer to volunteer their time every day to groom 10, 12 hours a shift, where most organizations, it's a 30, 40, 50 mile an hour loop where they, we can volunteer 2 or 3 hours of our time. That doesn't work for our system because of the sheer immense size of the trail system that we operate.
Yes, those trail stickers help cover some costs, but not everything, and clubs have to rely on raising funds themselves.
Some of the funds that come in from your trail stickers and your trail passes gets turned back in per mile of grooming. So each club sends a report in for the amount of trails mileage that they groom, and then there's a reimbursement that comes back to that organization to help supplement the fuel cost, some of the maintenance and supplies for the equipment, as well as supplement some of the wage for either hiring a company to maintain them, or in our case with the Keweenaw Trail System, we've chosen to hire a technician, and that individual takes that machine once the groomer is done with their route and turns it over to the mechanic or technician, and they maintain it, get it ready for the next round. So we do get some of that funding back, and that does help support some of that. It does not cover insurance costs. It does not cover the other wages, insurance, utilities, and such. We have 5 grooming equipment, 2 New Holland tractors, and 3 piston bullies, and it's well over $1 million in assets. So we're stewards of this equipment, and we need to have a safe and secure facility to maintain them, to continue building and grooming and maintaining that trail system throughout the Keweenaw Peninsula.
Right now, those groomers are stored in their Mohawk facility right in here. I'm not entirely sure how this building is still standing.
So the facility in Mohawk really does not fit the needs to properly service the equipment. It's in a state of disrepair. Only 2 can fit in at a time. It doesn't have the proper HVAC system. It doesn't have all the mechanicals. There's no plumbing. It just really is not a safe working environment in a sense. It's not efficient.
This new facility under construction is located alongside Trail 3 in Calumet.
What we're trying to do is move forward with finishing this maintenance facility. The way we're designing this facility, it'll have in-floor heat. The equipment every day has to come in, get thawed out, so the technician can properly inspect it and maintain it and make sure all of the pieces and parts are working in proper fashion. So the other goal is that to have some equipment here, because when the people, our groomers, leave Mohawk to go to the south end of the trail system, it's close to a 14-hour run. By providing 2 or 3 machines here, and they can start here to run the south run, then that cuts that down to 10 to 12 hours.
The club started on this new groomer barn 4 years ago, and it's still not finished.
It looks like we're looking for about $450,000 would be ultimate goal to really finish this, so it has all of the facilities done that we can utilize it. Past leadership was able to get a skeleton structure put together on this property. Unfortunately, it was during the time of, I believe, COVID hit, and that probably put a big wrinkle into the whole ability to raise funds to finish it. Fast forward to this year, under current leadership of the Keweenaw Trail Services, we formed a business and building committee, and what that committee did was start to get, theoretically, our ducks in a line, get the proper paperwork put in place, acquire legal ownership of the property, and then start telling the story that this is what we need to finish it. And our goal is, ultimately, would be to have it totally complete, fundraising done before the start of the winter season, the next season, in the 24-25 season. This building is 108 by 65 feet, and it has, 5 bays with the 10 doors, and it allows all of the equipment to be housed. And like I said, these first 3 will be sort of technically a cold storage, where the maintenance is going to be done in these bays on the left. This center section will have a firewall, to meet code. So work can be done in this 2 bays here. And then there will be a small office and then a ADA approved restroom facility. The plan is to plumb in to have like a small kitchenette, facility, so we can have those member club functions. As a club organization, you want to be able to have that environment where you can bring your members in and enjoy that club atmosphere. Our current facility that we utilize at Mohawk does not do that, as you will see.
So far, approximately $350,000 has been spent on this building, plus hours of volunteer labor and donated materials.
Well over $100,000 of in-kind services. The volunteers, as well as the township, bring in hundreds of yards of sand fill. We were able to get the sewer system. Ryan as our president, was out here with a backhoe and digging, and just a lot of hundreds of hours of volunteer time, as well as companies donating their time, labor, and products to get us to where we are at this point. We're able to find some matching grants. Visit Keweenaw, a destination grant, they approved that, and that's going to go towards matching another grant that we acquired to get the concrete, to get the floor in. So the optimistic goal is that we get the floor system in, and then we get the doors on, so we can secure the facility before the snow comes. 10 doors with the closures and openers and such, that's a $50,000 price tag. So we're in this sponsor a door campaign. So if anyone is out there, for about $3,500, you can sponsor a door here. We'll put your name on the door, and for about 5 years, and you can showcase your product or your service or your company. You can help really by getting on the Keweenaw Snowmobile Club website. I mean, we have a GoFundMe page for this facility. We're trying to raise funds. Get involved, volunteer for the organization, get out there, if there's volunteer days for trail maintenance. Any way that you can help is going to be appreciated by the organization.
While I was in the Keweenaw and we are talking about trails, I checked out the progress of the snowmobile and ATV trail that runs from Ripley to Calumet to see if it will be ready in time for this year's snowmobile season. I caught up with Mike Deline of MD Contracting as they were finishing a rerouted stretch of trail alongside M26.
9,000 feet of trail. We got almost 3,000 tons of gravel, 4,000 yards of fill dirt in here. This trail was actually washed out in a couple spots when we got here, but you can drive through here now.
The entire trail restoration is 90% complete. Trail signage went back up this past weekend, and plans are in the works for a ribbon-cutting ceremony in early December. That's all for tonight, and I hope to see you right back here next week for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.